Misogyny is now set to be recorded as a hate crime by police in England and Wales after the government bowed to campaigners' demands following the murder of Sarah Everard to do more to protect women. Ministers announced that from the autumn, forces will be asked to record and identify crimes of violence, including stalking and sexual offences believed by the victim. That's their perception, their belief. There doesn't have to be any evidence specific they present, but believed by the victim to have been motivated by hostility based on their sex. They also point out by the sex and gender, but of course it's just the one, isn't it? Let's talk about this to Baroness Kennedy, who kindly joins us again. She's a Labour peer and human rights barrister. Good morning to you.
Hello, Julia.
Hello, you're becoming something of a regular now. It's a great pleasure for me. We know we've already got an issue with sort of non-criminal hate crimes and issues there. Misogyny, hatred of women, now going to be recorded by the police in England and Wales as a hate crime. This, therefore, as an aggregating factor when it comes to any sentencing of anyone convicted of a crime involving misogyny. Is that right? Is that what should happen? Isn't this now a two-tier legal system where effectively crimes against women will be punished more severely than crimes against men?
It's not really like that, Julia. What happened was that, and what we've learned from, is that Nottingham Police and now 6 others, so 7 police forces, have been actually looking at complaints that women make. And when they look at it, they see that it is very much directed at abusing women for being women. You know, it's always, and I know that we're early in the morning, so we don't use the kind of language that we're talking about.
Please don't, yes.
But it's really shocking, and women know this. It's about really horrible, degrading, insult, abusive behaviour, and in a way that feels threatening, because you don't know when it's going to move into something much more physical and possibly violent.
But hold on a minute, what's that got to do with it being women? If someone is shouting abuse at you in the street, that is already a crime, regardless of who you are or who they are. If someone is hitting you, if someone is sexually assaulting you, these things are all, someone's stalking you, these things are already crimes. Why should it be relevant that the victim is a woman and believes that the crime is purely because they are a woman?
Julia, we're stepping back and we're saying, what can we do about the whole business of male aggressive behaviour towards women? Why is that happening? What is that about? And if there is any way in which men can start thinking twice about insulting, abusing, harassing women, then of course it's a good thing. So that's the point. Is we're having to.
Can I say most men do already think twice and don't do it? Can we point that out? The few men that do it. We'll have to think twice. But why would the law make them think twice?
There's enough men who do it for most women to have had the experience. And so we're having to look at, how do you make the streets safer for women? How do you make it safer for women to feel that they can go to public spaces like parks, like to the gates outside schools? Nottingham found that outside schools was one of the places where women get shouted at and abused. So it's an interesting thing. Why is it happening? How can we take steps to deal with it? Now, I mean,
why would this? Someone who thinks it's acceptable to shout an abusive term at a woman in the street or a girl in the street, or these men? And again, we've been talking this morning about the girls who just walking down, teenage girls, in fact younger than teenage girls, walking home from school and being harassed and stalked effectively by men in cars. The sort of men who do things like that, they're not going to be put off by the fact that it's now a hate crime. It's already wrong for them to do that.
I think that you'll find that men will think twice if they think that they're going to actually end up being brought before a court, and that their own families are going to know about their behaviour, and that their own wives are going to know about their behaviour, their own mothers are going to know about their behaviour. And I think that you will find that there will be a retreat from some of this kind of conduct. But, this has been going on forever and a day. And we're now having to say, let's see whether we can't put a stop to it. And how you have to try things. And the interesting thing about this, and I mentioned it the last time I was on, Julia, is that there are offences, threatening behaviour, which is about using insulting and abusive language towards somebody, harassing people. There are offences that can be used, but they're not being used. And it's because the police haven't had their attention drawn to the ways in which women experience this. And what we've seen is that if you actually alert the police, train the police around it, then there is a much more assertive set of actions taken.